the final 3 experiments I want to present to you are especially interesting for the guys out there who want to make out with women, because they cover a quite important question. If you speak to a girl, should you touch her in the first moments, or should you keep your fingers under control? I mean, on the one hand, we saw in all the previous experiments that touch, in almost all circumstances, leads to more compliance. But when you approach a girl and you touch her too early, isn't that too intrusive? Isn't that too pushy? Well, let's take a look at the evidence. Let's take a look at the study by Nicolas Guéguen, published in 2009 in the journal Social Influence. In the first experiment, 120 women were approached in a disco. All the women were approached in the same way. All the time the confederate of the experimenter said, "Hello, my name is Antoine, do you want to dance?" And while he said so, he touched half of the girls softly on their forearm. And this technique really proved to be successful, because whereas in a control condition, in which about only 43% of the girls said, "Yeah, let's dance, why not?" In the touch condition, the compliance rate was much higher. When they were touched on the forearm, about 65%. So more than 20% more women were now willing to dance. Now you might say, well, asking a girl whether she wants to dance is not that difficult. It would be more impressive if you went to a girl right on the street and you would directly ask for her phone number. Is touch successful in such a scenario as well? Well, let's take a look at the second experiment, in which this is exactly what they did. All in all, 240 women were approached on the street, and the confederate of the experimenter said, "Hello, my name is Antoine. I just want to say that I think you are really pretty. I have to go to work this afternoon, but I wonder if you would give me your phone number. I'll phone you later and we can have a drink together someplace." During this request, half of the girls were touched for about 1 second on their forearm. And also in this scenario, touching the girl was more effective. In comparison to the control condition, in which the girls were not touched and in which only 10% said, "Okay, you can have my phone number," in the touch condition, 19.2%. So almost twice as much girls, and all in all, every 5th girl said, "Okay, yeah, you can have my phone number." So also in this scenario, touching was more successful. Nevertheless, you might say, well, one experiment is not very convincing and it would be better if there would be a replication. And therefore the third experiment is just a replication of what we heard now. Again, 160 women were asked on the street for their phone number, and again half of them were touched softly on their forearm for about 1 second, and the results were almost the same. In the control condition, only about 14% said, "Okay, you can have my phone number," whereas in the touch condition, this time again twice as much women said, exactly 27.5% of the women said, "Yes, you can have my phone number." Why was touch in this scenario so effective? Well, the scientists explain their results with a higher perceived dominance and maybe higher sexual attractiveness could play a role when the women were touched by the man. Nevertheless, as interesting as these results might sound, you have to keep in mind that this study was conducted in France, which is regarded as high touch culture. So in this country it's quite accepted and it's quite normal that people touch each other, and it's absolutely questionable whether these results might be observed, for example, in low touch cultures like, for example, in Japan. And in these cultures I would be very careful to touch women on the street. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode on the power of touch, and if you want, we will see you next time.